Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Cha Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudite Nashtavraya Shavadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhagavati Naishtike. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 16, Lord Parshuram destroys the world's ruling class. Text number 15 onwards. So Parshuram came back when his mother was crying and Kartavirya Arjuna's sons had come and killed his father Jamdagni and then took his head with them. Virtually bewildered by grief, anger, indignation, affliction, and lamentation, the sons of Jamdagni cried, "O father, most religious, saintly person, you have left us and gone to the heavenly planets. Vilapyavam pituradeham nidhaya bhratrishu swayam pragriya parasham ramaha kshatrantaya manodadhe." Thus lamenting, Lord Parshuram entrusted his father's dead body to his brothers and personally took up his axe, having decided to put an end to all the Kshatriyas on the surface of the world. O King, Lord Parshuram then went to Maheshmati, which was already doomed by the sinful killing of a Brahman. In the midst of that city, he made a mountain of heads, severed from the bodies of the sons of Kartavirya. In the middle of the city, he made a mountain of heads. So 10,000 sons were there of Kartavirya Arjuna. And I'm sure there were many soldiers also. He killed them all. Tadrakte nadim ghoram brahmanye bhayavaha kehetum kritva pitrivadham kshatraya mangal karini tri sapta kritva prithvim kritva nikshatriyam prabhu samanta panchake chakre shonito dana hadana nava. With the blood of the bodies of these sons, Lord Parshuram created a ghastly river which brought great fear to the kings who had no respect for Brahminical culture. Because the Kshatriyas, the men of power in government, were performing sinful activities. Lord Parshuram, on the plea of retaliating for the murder of his father, rid all the Kshatriyas from the face of the earth 21 times. Indeed, in the place known as Samanta Panchak, he created 9 lakes filled with their blood. Boy, that must be something. 21 times all over the world, he killed all the Kshatriyas. Now somebody will say, why did he do such a ghastly work? And when only few Kshatriyas killed his father? Parshuram is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and his eternal mission is Paritranaya Sadhunam Vinashaya Chatuskrita, to protect the devotees and annihilate the miscreants. To kill all the sinful men is one among the tasks of the incarnation of Godhead. Lord Parshuram killed all the Kshatriyas 21 times consecutively because they were disobedient to the Brahminical culture. That the Kshatriyas had killed his father was only a plea. The real fact is that because the Kshatriyas, the ruling class, had become polluted, their position was inauspicious. Brahminical culture is enjoined in the Shastras, especially in Bhagavad Gita. According to the laws of nature, whether at the time of Parshuram or at the present, if the government becomes irresponsible and sinful, not caring for Brahminical culture, there will certainly be an incarnation of God like Parshuram to create a devastation by fire, famine, pestilence, or some other calamity. Whenever the government disrespects the supremacy of the personality of Godhead and fails to protect the institution of Varnashram Dharma, it will certainly have to face such catastrophes as formerly brought about by Lord Parshuram. So we can see that this is basically happening right now. It's not like Krishna has to come himself. He can send coronavirus to just take care of irreligious, sinful people, whether they are Kshatriyas or Brahmins or Shudras or Vaishyas. The mission is same. Paritrana sadhunam vinashaya chadushka. Now somebody might ask, why the devotees are leaving their body also in this pandemic? Well, devotees go through their own cycle. I won't say karma, but whatever Krishna wants. So Krishna or Krishna's instrument, killing devotees versus killing sinful people are two different things. Completely different. So we just have to have faith in the words of scriptures, in the words of Srila Prabhupada, and go with that. That Prabhupada, he will create a devastation by fire, famine, pestilence, or some other calamity. But when he personally comes, like Parshuram, or like Kalki will come towards the end of Kali Yuga, and he kills. So this is in fact beneficial, auspicious for the people who get killed, because they get liberated right away. Whether they're killed by Sudarshan Chakra of Krishna or axe of Parshuram or the arrows of Lord Ram, it's the same thing. They all get liberated. Thereafter, Parshuram joined his father's head to the dead body and placed the whole body and head upon Kusha grass. By offering sacrifices, he began to worship Lord Vasudeva, who is all-pervading, super soul of all the demigods and of every living entity. After completing the sacrifice, Lord Parshuram gave the eastern direction to the Hota as a gift, to the south to the Brahma, the west to the Adhvaryu, and the north to Udgata, and the four corners, northeast, southeast, northwest, southwest, to the other priest. He gave the middle to Kashyap, and the place known as Aryavrita to the Upadrishta. Whatever remained, he distributed among the Sadasyas, the associate priests. The tract of land in India between the Himalaya mountains and the Vindhya hills is called Aryavrata. Now, why he gave? Because he had killed all the Kshatriyas, all the kings. And whenever you kill the king, that kingdom belongs to you. That was the deal. But when he performed the sacrifice, Lord Parshuram, he didn't need anything. So he gave everything away. Everything. So now there are more stories. First, we read about that he filled 9 lakes with blood of Kshatriyas in the place called Samanta Panchak. Now that place is at present known as Kurukshetra. And in Kurukshetra, there's a huge sarovar called Brahm Sarovar. So it is said that was the pond. That now, out of 9, they just combined all 9 and made one big sarovar. And it is the biggest man-made lake in whole Asia, something like that. So that is called Brahm Sarovar, and that is the place, it is said. Of course, the water is not red, but that is a place where he filled up. And that is a place where he washed his axe also. And also, after he killed the Kshatriyas, he did the sacrifice, he gave all the land, then he wanted to retire. He wanted to go for his meditation. So he went to South India, but the Brahman said, you have given us this land. You cannot meditate here. Or some other pastime happened. So what did he do? What did he do? He is Lord. He's the empowered incarnation. So he threw his axe in the ocean. And when he threw it in the ocean went back. And the shape of his axe, according to his shape, the land came up. And that land in the shape of X is Kerala right now. So Kerala is, if you look at, it's in the shape of the X, and the iron part, the cutting part. And it is said that Lord Parshuram is still doing his tapasya there. And when the need is, he will come and he will again do the killing part if the need happens, or if Lord Krishna asked him to do. And it is also said that he will come towards the end of Kali Yuga, and he will help to start the Satya Yuga. So he's still there. I believe it's called Mahendra Parvat, where he is doing his tapasya. Tatashchava Bridha Snana Vibhuta Sheshkil Bisha Saraswatyam Mahanadyam Reje Vibhra Ivanshma. Thereafter, having completed the ritualistic sacrificial ceremonies, Lord Parshuram took the bath known as Avabhrit Snan. Standing on the bank of the great river Saraswati, cleared of all sins, Lord Parshuram appeared like the sun in a clear, cloudless sky. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Yagyarthat Karmana Anyatra Lokoyam Karma Bandhana. Work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. Otherwise, work binds one to this material world. Karma Bandhana refers to repeated acceptance of one material body after another. The whole problem of life is this repetition of birth and death. Therefore, one is advised to work to perform yajna meant for satisfying Lord Vishnu. Although Lord Parshuram was an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he had to account for sinful activities. Because as a leader, he has to lead people by his example. Anyone in this material world, however careful he may be, must commit some sinful activities, even though he doesn't want to. For example, one may trample many small ants and other insects while walking on the street and kill many living beings unknowingly. Therefore, the Vedic principle of Pancha Yajna, 5 kinds of recommended sacrifice, is compulsory. In this age of Kali, however, there is a great concession given to people in general. Yajna Sankirtan Praya. We may worship Lord Chaitanya, the hidden incarnation of Krishna. Although he is Krishna himself, he always chants Hare Krishna and preaches Krishna consciousness. One is recommended to worship this incarnation by chanting the Sankirtan Yajna. The performance of Sankirtan Yajna is a special concession for human society to save people from being affected by known or unknown sinful activities. We are surrounded by unlimited sins, and therefore it is compulsory that one take to Krishna consciousness and chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, because other sacrifices are not practical, not possible in this day and age. And to do that atonement, to perform the atonement for the sins, whether knowingly or unknowingly we commit, we have to atone for those. So that sacrifice in this day and age is recommended as Sankirtan Yajna. Just chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Swadeham jam dagnistu labdhava sangyan lakshanam rishina mandale sobhuta saptamo rama pujita. Thus, Jamdagni, being worshipped by Lord Parshuram, was brought back to life with full remembrance, and he became one of the 7 sages in the group of 7 stars. So, what are the 7 stars? The 7 stars revolving around the pole star, or which is Dhruv Tara, at the zenith are called the Saptarishi Mandal. On these 7 stars, which form the topmost part of our planetary system, reside 7 sages: Kashyap, Atri, Vashishta, Vishwamitra, Gautam, Jamdagni, and Bharadwaj. These 7 stars are seen every night, and they each make a complete orbit around the pole star within 24 hours. Along with these 7 stars, all the other stars also orbit from east to west. The upper portion of the universe is called the north, and the lower portion is called the south. Even in our ordinary dealings, while studying a map, we regard the upper portion of the map as north. And he is one of the 7 sages in one of the 7 stars. Jamdagnyo api Bhagwan Rama Kamalalochana Agam Inyantare Rajan Vartishyati Vabrihat. My dear King Parikshit, in the next Manvanta, the lotus-eyed personality of Godhead, Lord Parshuram, the son of Jamdagni, will be a great propounder of Vedic knowledge. In other words, he will be one of the 7 sages. So this is a service he will take in the next Manvanta. Lord Parshuram still lives as an intelligent Brahman in the mountainous country known as Mahendra. Completely satisfied, having given up all the weapons of a Kshatriya, he is always worshipped, adored and offered prayers for his exalted character and activities by such celestial beings as the Siddhas, Charans and Gandharvas. So we have heard of beautiful pastimes of Lord Parshuram coming when Lord Ram appeared and he broke the bow of Lord Shiva. And Parshuramji also came when Krishna appeared. And he's the one who brought Sudarshan Chakra for Krishna. So in Vrindavan or in Braj, Krishna never picked up any weapon. He always killed all the demons either by kicking them or by hitting them with a bog or punching them or something else. He never picked up any weapon in Braj. But he didn't want Brajvasis to get scared. But when he came out, the first weapon they picked up, Krishna Balram, both of them, was they broke the teeth of this Kvalya-Pid elephant outside the wrestling arena of Kansa, and they killed that Kvalya-Pid with his own tusks. So that was the first weapon they picked up. So then Krishna killed Kansa. Then when he was going to, or he went to Sandipni Muni's ashram for studies, so either there or in Mathura only, Parshuram came and he gave him his Sudarshan Chakra. He said, now you use it. Anyway, in this way, the Supreme Soul, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Lord and the Supreme Controller, descended as an incarnation in the Bhrigu dynasty and released the universe from the burden of undesirable kings by killing them many times. Gadher bhun mahateja samit eva pavaka tapsa kshatram utsrijya yoleve brahma varchasam. Vishwamitra, the son of Maharaj Gadhi, was as powerful as the flames of fire. From the position of a Kshatriya, he achieved the position of a powerful Brahman by undergoing penances and austerities. So Vishwamitra, now who was supposed to be Kshatriya, but because Gadhi's wife, Satyavati, she took the oblation that was supposed to be taken by her daughter. So the mixture happened. So Vishwamitra, he was Kshatriya, but then he became a powerful Brahman. Now, having narrated the history of Lord Parshuram, Shukdev Goswami begins the history of Vishwamitra. From the history of Parshuram, we can understand that although Parshuram belonged to the Brahminical group, he circumstantially had to work as a Kshatriya. Later, after finishing his work as a Kshatriya, he again became a Brahman and returned to Mahendra Parvat. Similarly, we can see that although Vishwamitra was born in a Kshatriya family, by austerities and penances, he achieved the position of a Brahman. These histories confirm the statements in Shastra that a Brahman may become a Kshatriya may become a Brahman or Vaishya, and Vaishya may become a Brahman by achieving the required qualities. One's status does not depend upon birth, as confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam by Narad Muni. If one shows the symptoms of being a Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Shudra, even if he has appeared in a different class, he should be accepted according to those symptoms of classification. To know who is a Brahman and who is a Kshatriya, one must consider a man's quality and work. If all the unqualified Shudras become so-called Brahmans and Kshatriyas, social order will be impossible to maintain. Thus, there will be discrepancies. Human society will turn into a society of animals, and the situation all over the world will be hellish. And this is exactly what is going on. Vishwamitrasya chavasan putra ekashatam nripa madhyamastu madhuchandas evate. O King Parikshit, Vishwamitra had 101 sons, of whom the middle one was known as Madhuchanda. In relation to him, all the other sons were celebrated as the Madhuchandas, because he was such an exalted person. In this connection, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur quotes this statement from the Vedas. Vishwamitra had 101 sons, 50 were older than Madhuchanda and 50 younger, but they were all known as Madhuchandas. And then Vishwamitra accepted the son of Ajigartha, known as Shunashefa, who was born in the Bhrigu dynasty and was also known as Devarat, as one of his own sons. Vishwamitra ordered his sons to accept Shunashefa as their elder brother. So if you remember Shunashefa, so Shunashefa was the person when Maharaj Harishchandra had his son Rohit and Varuna helped him. But Varuna asked him, Harishchandra told him that I will sacrifice my son. But he did not sacrifice for many, many years. He kept on procrastinating, giving different excuses. Then once he was in the forest, he bought this boy, Shunashefa. And Shunashefa was to be sacrificed. And this is what next shloka says. Yo vai Harishchandra makhe vikritaha purusha pashu sutva devan prajeshadin momuche pash bandhana. Shunashefa's father told Shunashefa to be sold Shunashefa to be sacrificed as a man animal in the yajna of King Harishchandra. When Shunashefa was brought into the sacrificial arena, he prayed to the demigods for release and were released by their mercy. Is a description of Shunashefa. When Harishchandra was to sacrifice his son Rohit, Rohit arranged to save his own life by purchasing Shunashefa from Shunashefa's father to be sacrificed in the yajna. Shunashefa was sold to Maharaj Harishchandra because he was the middle son between the oldest and the youngest. It appears that the sacrifice of a man as an animal in the yajna has been prescribed for a very long time. But the sacrifice is not ordinary sacrifice, not just killing the man, but Brahmins would be so powerful. Either the soul will go to heaven or get a new human body right away. Although Shunashefa was born in the Bhargav dynasty, he was greatly advanced in spiritual life, and therefore the demigods involved in the sacrifice protected him. Consequently, he was also celebrated as a descendant of Dadhi named Devarat. When requested by their father to accept Shunashefa as eldest, the elder 50 of the Madhuchandas, the sons of Vishwamitra, did not agree. Therefore, Vishwamitra being angry, cursed them. May all of you had sons, may all of you bad sons become Malechas. He said, being opposed to the principle of Vedic culture. So Vedic culture means they could not disobey their father. In Vedic culture, there are names like Malecha and Yavan. The Malechas understood to be those who do not follow the Vedic principles. In former days, the Malechas were fewer, and Vishwamitra Muni cursed his sons to become Malechas. But in present days, Kali Yuga, there is no need for cursing. So people are automatically Malechas. Not just we say, oh, people outside India are Malechas. Everybody is a Malecha who doesn't follow Vedic principles. This is only the beginning of Kali Yuga. By the end of Kali Yuga, the entire population will consist of Malechas because no one will follow the Vedic principles. At that time, the incarnation Kalki will appear. He will kill all the Malechas indiscriminately with his sword. So no more preaching, no more chanting, no nothing, just killing. When the elder Madhuchandas were cursed, the younger 50, along with Madhuchanda himself, approached their father and agreed to accept his proposal. Dear father, they said, we shall abide by whatever arrangement you like. Thus the younger Madhuchandas accepted Shunashefa as their eldest brother and told him, we shall follow your orders. Vishwamitra then said to his obedient sons, because you have accepted Shunashefa as your eldest brother, I am very satisfied. By accepting my order, you have made me a father of worthy sons, and therefore I bless all of you to become the fathers of sons also. So one of the 100 sons, half disobeyed Vishwamitra by not accepting Shunashefa as their eldest brother, but the other half accepted his order. Therefore, the father blessed the obedient sons to become the fathers of sons. Otherwise, they would have been cursed also to be sonless, malechas. Vishwamitra said, O Kushikas, descendants of Kaushik, this Devrat is my son and is one of you. Please obey his orders. So King Parikshit, Vishwamitra had many other sons such as Ashtak, Harith, Jai, and Krituman. Vishwamitra cursed some of his sons and blessed the others, and he also adopted his son. Thus, there were varieties in the Kaushik dynasty, but among all the sons, Devrat or Shunashefa was considered the eldest. Thus ends Bhaktivedanta purport of 9th canto, 16th chapter, Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Lord Parshuram Destroys the World's Ruling Class. So we'll stop here, and now the next many chapters, and there are hardly any purport. It's all different dynasties. Shukdev Goswami will list, and I'm pretty sure so very soon we'll be starting the 10th canto. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada. See, anybody has any questions or comments?
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Anji.
I have a question not related to the subject that we were just reading, but why do the yugas change? What is the reason for change of yugas from Satyug to Treta to Dwapar, and then to?
See, it is explained someplace by Prabhupada, if I remember everything correctly, that the qualities of men, it just go down, just like our mind, if it is not kept properly up by sacrificial process or by spiritual processes, it will go down slowly. Go down means go down to the baser instincts. So this is what happens. It starts with Satyuga, but then the qualities go down. They don't want to follow the dharma properly, or the austerities, charity, or the truthfulness. So slowly it goes on. And it only happens on earthly planets, on Bhuloka, nowhere else. So different things happen, and the Lord also likes to have different pastimes and different incarnations have to come. And then there is a transition period always between Satyuga to Treta, Treta to Dwapar, Dwapar to Kalyug. But there's the transition between Kalyug to Satyug. That is the biggest transition. Because otherwise it's going down. But all of a sudden, from Kalyug to Satyug to happen, it is like a reverse gear. So that transition happens. I mean, it has been happening. It's not the first time it's going to happen. It happens, and then the Satyug will start, and then the very good things will happen, and then slowly, all the qualities will go down again.
In Satyuga, probably the people are in the mode of goodness. There is
mostly
that the living entity has of goodness and are in the Satyuga. So why should, and the majority of the population is Brahmins, so they are performing their duty well. So why should there be degradation? Why should the mind get degraded to such an extent that the yoga changes?
This is the quality of mind. It doesn't want to follow. It has to be kept up. At the level of goodness, it has to be kept up. So Satyuga is a process, is meditation. So they'll go and meditate for thousands and thousands of years. But there are so many stories of Satyuga also. This thing happened, that thing happened, this sage did this sage did that. Happens.
Okay.
Because it is material world.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, so we'll stop here. You all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Ram.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Jai Shri